Nothing great was ever achieved in life by someone who said, I don't think I can, or I don't think I'm good enough. No, the greatest things are done by the most unexpected people who say the same things. I will succeed. There is nothing that is going to stop me. Because without that mindset, it doesn't matter how strong your intention is, there are things that will get in your way. I remember when I was young, just starting my senior year of high school, my whole life was ahead of me. I had friends, I was happy, and I was excited about the possibilities of what lie ahead. One particular day stands out to me. As I left for school that morning, my car wouldn't start. So I came back inside to ask my brother for a ride to school. It was a classic high school car, which meant it was mostly held together with duct tape and wishful thinking. Everyone else had already left for the day. And that's when I found him, with his thoughts spread across the floor. The smell of gunpowder lingered heavily in the air. How did I not hear the blast? I had just seen him 5 minutes ago. I was devastated. This was my older brother, someone I shared bunk beds with for 10 years, someone I loved deeply. That day turned everything upside down. That day rattled my cage. That day made me question so many things. I was competitive growing up, mainly because of him. He gave me something to strive for. He was bigger, stronger, and smarter than me. I wanted to be like him. I was pretty young then, and I'm not sure I knew what I wanted to do as a profession. But that day helped set a path. I decided that I didn't want to see another young person growing up, suffering like that, and not have the resources to move forward. And that's why I became a psychology major. And why now I'm a John Maxwell Leadership Certified Coach. But there are things that will set your path, and there are things that will take you off your path. And there are things that will darken a person's heart. Not always big things, not always visible. Sometimes it's just the slow buildup of small betrayals. The silence we keep when we should speak, or the smile we fake while we're dying inside. The weight we carry alone because we don't trust anyone else to hold it. For a long time, I was carrying around things that were weighing me down. Shame I never spoke. Guilt I thought I deserved. Resentments I wore like armor. A lot of times I looked like I had it all together, but inside I was stuck, going through the motions, getting things done, but not always living fully. I had to stop and ask, what am I doing this for? That's when I transferred schools. It's when I met somebody and she became my wife. And when our son was born, I felt real joy, real peace for the first time in a long time. It was the dot-com era. And I remember thinking that it was going to be hard to get a job straight out of school with a psychology degree. So I changed my degree to computer science. Because nothing says stability like switching from psychology to computer science during the dot-com crash. For me, it was the first time I loved something more than myself. Becoming a parent is magical. It's like, poof, where'd your free time go? Sleep, gone. Your money, psh, disappeared. We took him camping one weekend. And the next day he had a fever, so we took him by the doctor. And while I was out getting breakfast, my wife calls and says, it's serious. And they're airlifting him to Winston-Salem. So we rush to the hospital, and when we get there, the doctor says, your son is gone. What? How could that be? Shock. Grief. I was just starting to open up. I was just starting to let myself feel again. My marriage didn't work. I was broken. Nobody could see my pain. And I remember praying about it. God, I'm walking around this university campus and nobody can see or tell that I'm in pain, that I'm hurting, that I need help. See, when people are drowning, it's hard to ask for help. Then it seemed my prayers were answered, but not in the way I imagined. See, 2 weeks later, my immune system decided to go haywire. And I developed an autoimmune disease where my body was covered in a severe rash from head to toe. Now everyone could see I was in pain, that I was suffering. Not quite what I imagined. Doctors told me there was no cure. I lost my brother, my son, and my health in what felt like a single breath. But other than that, life was good. On the bright side, I learned 17 ways to cry in public without making eye contact. My favorite, I got something in my eye. I remember thinking, how could this be happening to me? Like, what is my purpose? Why am I even here anymore? And those questions, well, they cleared the fog enough, just enough for me to see the path wasn't blocked by the world. It was blocked by what I refused to face. So I started facing it, one truth at a time, one breath at a time. And it turns out that healing isn't linear. It's more like a GPS that keeps saying, recalculating. I listened to some advice. Some people said, write it down, get it out of your head. So I started to journal. Day 1, why me? Day 2, still me. Day 3, why not me? Why don't I be the one who overcomes this autoimmune disease that doctors said is incurable? Why don't I be the one who overcomes adversity, who faces obstacles and turns them into launching ramps for others? So I started learning, growing, experimenting. And when I did, I started to see the teachings I had learned about, read about, come alive in my own experience. Our hearts can get covered, not destroyed, not broken, covered by pain, by ignorance, by ego, by attachments to things we don't need or can't keep, by aversions to things we need to feel. And that hit me hard because I realized there were things I was avoiding, things I was holding on to, things I was afraid of. And if you skip those things, you skip the growth and you stay stuck. I could have stayed stuck. I could have chosen to be a victim. Or I could remember my path and I could focus on growth and healing. Even when we start doing the work, there's more work to be done. See, persistence will get us there, but consistency will keep us there. Every choice we make creates residue, not just in our circumstances, but in our bodies, our minds, our relationships. So even if we start living differently today, you still have to walk through the dust cloud of yesterday. And that's hard. And that's where a lot of people quit. Because no one's coming to do the work for you. Once you start doing the work, the resistance begins. Not because you're doing something wrong, because you're finally doing something real. And these obstacles, they don't just test your body, they test your spirit. Pain shows up, energy drops. Healing feels harder than staying hurt. The mind whispers, who do you think you are? Some days you believe it. You get busy, you skip one day, then another. You're back in your old shoes, on the path you swore you left. Suddenly you're back in sweatpants, ordering DoorDash and listening to old playlists you made in 2012. Then you start justifying it. Rest is productive, right? As if your Netflix binge is somehow sacred self-care. This carelessness requires you to do double time to catch back up. You push through anyway. But now you're tired. Not just tired, exhausted. You stop showing up. You forget your why. You drift. The cravings return. The numbing tools you thought you dropped call your name again. And then when you're growing, the discomfort of transformation can look and feel like failure. Life punches back. Something breaks. Someone leaves. And you wonder if you've really changed at all. Then comes the hardest part. You want it now. The crown, the calm, the breakthrough, like Amazon Prime for the soul. Can I get enlightenment in 2 days or less, please? The world sells instant everything, but real growth, that's slow cooked, crock pot style. You forget that becoming who you are takes time. So what do? You breathe. Take a deep breath, and then you take your next step. You do the right thing with the right attitude, with the right intention. If you focus on goals, you might reach your goal. But if you focus on growth, you'll grow. And the only guarantee to make tomorrow better is through growth today. Not much is guaranteed in life, even if you do everything right. And if you can't get that one lesson, then you'll always be suffering. Because your ego is attached to something outside of you. Because your peace is tied to something you can't control. Someone else's love. A number on a scale, the success of your business. Whether the world sees you or not. Even good things like community can become chains if you need them to feel whole. But wholeness doesn't come from what you hold. It comes from who you are and what you're becoming. So you choose right action anyway. You show up in alignment with your purpose, your vision, even when no one's watching. You tend the fire inside, not the spotlight outside. That's inner cultivation. That's freedom. And that's the path. And when you're really on it, you're never truly alone. Because you're walking with the one person who will never leave you, yourself. That's why the most important relationship you'll ever build is with you. Which is great news unless you're really annoying. So you might as well become someone you actually enjoy hanging out with. Because loneliness isn't cured by a crowd. Yes, let your brothers and sisters walk with you, but not to define you. You clear the path, not just once, but every day. So let's get to work.